Hello everyone. This video is a part of a series of the videos of the ongoing challenge on LeetCode, which is June LeetCoding Challenge 2020. You can find the link to the complete playlist in the description of the videos, where I've added solution along with the explanation for all the challenge problems that have been published till now. So with that, let's get moving. Today is week 2, problem 6, largest divisible subset. So in this problem, you are given a set of positive integers and you have to find the largest subset such that if you take any pair of two numbers from this subset, one number is a multiple of the other number. Okay, so if you take a pair, say Si comma Sj, either Si should be divisible by Sj or Sj should be divisible by Si. Okay, so basically one number should be multiple of the other number. Okay, and if there are multiple solutions, so we can then just return any subset. So the only requirement is we have to find the largest such subset. Okay, so how do we approach this problem is one thing. So let's say you have number 2. Okay, if you only have this number 2, what is the size of the subset that we can have in this case? So of course the largest divisible subset size can only be 1 because there is only one number. So that's all we have. But suppose along with this we have another number, say 4. Okay, so now what is the largest size of the subset that we can obtain? So of course if we are adding 4 in the already existing subset which is just containing the number 2, then we can see that if we add 4 to along with this 2, then we can see that since 2 divides 4, so we can put both 2 and 4 in one subset, right? So what we can do here is we can put both 2 and 4 and that will give us the size of the subset as 2, right? So when I add 4, the size of the subset now is 2, the largest subset size. Okay, what if I add another number, say 6? Okay, so if I add 6, so first thing that we should ask is can I have 4 along with 6 in the subset? So the answer is no. Why? Because 4 does not divide 6, neither the other way around. 6 also does not divide 6. Okay, so if I am having 6, so I cannot have 4 in the same subset, right? Because one number should definitely divide the other number. That's what we need to have. So we cannot have that. But can we put 6 along with the 2? So yes, 2 definitely divides 6. So if we just have a subset of 2 comma 6, in that subset 2 is the number which divides 6 and that's a valid subset. So we can have 2 along with 6. And that will give us the subset size of again 2. Okay, because one number can be 2 and the other number can be 6. Okay, now what if you encounter another number, say 2 again? Okay, now let's try to do this thing for 2. Okay, so can I have 2 along with the other 2? So yes, I can have, because either of the 2 divides the other 2. So 2 divides 2, 2 mod 2 is 0. So I can have this 2 along with this 2. So if I put this 2 along with this 2, that's going to give me a subset size of a total of 2, because this 2 and this 2 will be a total of subset size of 2. Can I have this 2 along with this 4? So if I have this 4 already, with this 4 and this 2, definitely this 2 divides 4 as well. And since at this 4 I am already having the subset size of 2, so I can maybe think like, okay, I can have a subset size of 3 in that particular case, because if I just put this 2 along with this 4, so I can then have subset size of 3. But there's a problem here. There's a very big problem here. The problem is, now you have this subset, okay, and instead of considering it in this order, let's try to consider the subset in this order, which is 2, 2, 4 and 6. Okay, the thing that's going to change here is, for this 2, we'll be having, so consider only this first 2. Okay, so for this first 2, the subset size is going to be 1. Now consider only these two numbers, 2 and 2. The subset size is going to be 2. Why? Because I can just put this 2 along with this 2 and both of these 2 will give me a subset size of 2. So that's a subset size of 2 with 2 and 2. Okay, but with this 4, if I put this 4 along with these 2, that's basically I already have a subset size of 2 when I'm at this 2, and if I put a one more 4 in it, so I'm going to obtain a subset size of 3. Why? Because I can just put this 4 with this 2, and since this 2 divides 4 already, so the subset size that I will obtain at 4 is 3. And for this 6, again if I see, so I can just put this 6 along with this 2, and what I can obtain is a subset size of 3 for that 6. Okay, because at this 2 I already have a subset size of 2, and for this 6 I can think like this, that since this 2 divides the 6, so I can put this 6 safely in the set which already contains these two 2's, and that's going to give me a subset size of 3. Okay, so now we realize that if I add the numbers in the increasing order, one by one, that's not a problem at all. But if there's a number which is decreasing again, that's going to change the count of the numbers that I already have. So for example, for this 6, we had that we can put 3 numbers when I'm putting the 6 when we process the input in the sorted order. But if you are not processing the input in the sorted order, so for this 6 I still have 2, right? So that's the problem that we have. So the first thing that we need to do is to sort the numbers that we have. After sorting the numbers, we can then just simply keep adding the numbers, and we can keep checking that for each of the number, what is the last number from where I can come from. So for example, let's say if I have 8 here, okay, as the next number. So if I put an 8, which among these numbers can form a subset with the 8? So can 6 form a subset with the 8? No, that's not possible, because 6 does not divide 8, neither 8 divides 6. Okay, can 4 form a subset with 8? So if you see, yes, 4 definitely divides 8. So 4 can form a subset with 8, and the count that we have at 4 is 3. So what does this count means? This count basically means that the number of numbers that are below 4, that are less than 4, that divides 4 along with this 4, that's the count that we have here, 3. Okay, so basically this 3 denotes that I am able to find 3 such numbers such that if I make a subset out of them, each number in that pair divides the other one, and the largest number that I have among those numbers is 4 at this, if I am looking at this particular position. Okay, so if I have 3 numbers already when I am at this 4, and if I add one more number which is 8, so the subset size that I will obtain at 8 is going to be 4. So I can just write a 4 here. Definitely I can come from these 2 also, but if I come from this 2, so at this 2 I have a subset size of 2, and if I add one more 8, that's going to give me a subset size of 3. But since we are interested in the largest subset size, so we'll just ignore that 3 and we'll just put 4 here. Similarly, I can come from these 2 as well, and if I come from this 2, the subset size that I have here is 1, and from this 2 the subset size that I will obtain is 2. But since I am again interested in the largest subset size, so I'll just ignore this part as well. Okay, so first thing, we need to sort the array so that we can process numbers in the increasing order, so that we don't encounter these kind of issues. So this 6 is supposed to be 3 because of these 2, but since we process the input in the non-sorted order, that's why we encountered a problem. So first thing is to sort the numbers. Second thing is to check back all the previous numbers, whichever number divides the current number. So for example, this 8, this 4 divides this 8, right? So whichever number divides this current number, and whichever number among those divisible among the numbers which divides 8, whichever is having the maximum count. Okay, so here in this case, since both these 2 and 4, these 3 numbers divide 8, but only this 4 is having the maximum count, right? So we'll only consider the maximum count that we have encountered, and we'll just add that count to 1, and that's going to be the count for this current number 8. Okay, so I had a count of 3, that means that I have total of 3 numbers that are there in my subset, and if I add one more number which is 8, so 3 plus 1 is going to be 4. So that's what I put here as well. So the count that I will be have when I'll be adding this 8 in my subset is 4. Okay, so let's just try to have run this on an example. So let's say the numbers that we have is this 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 5, 40, 8 and 10. Of course, the first step that we need to do is to sort the numbers. So we'll just sort the numbers, and the numbers that we have now is 1, 2, 2, 4, 5, 5, 8, 10 and 40. Okay, the next step that we need to do is we actually need to maintain 2 arrays. The first one is the count, which is this one. So we had the counts for each of the numbers, right? So for this 2, maybe here if you see, the count is going to be 2. For this 2, the count is going to be 3, like that. So we need to have one more array which will store the count for each of the value that we have, and along with this we need to have one more array which is index, which will store that from which index am I coming, or from which index am I arriving to the current number, so that I can add that number in the subset that I have. Okay, so we'll just run the algorithm, and this count and index will be a bit more clear to you. What does this mean and how are we going to obtain the values of the count and the index? Okay, so let's just start the algorithm. Okay, so let's just start with the first entry that we have, which is the 0th entry, and the value is 1. Okay, so if I only have this number 1, so what is the count of the subset that I have already? So if I only have this number 1, the count is going to be just 1, right? Because since there is just one number, so my subset size is also just 1. So that's the count that we have, only 1. Okay, and what's the last number that we added to this subset? Since there's no last number that we added to this subset, so I'll just put -1 here. Okay, because I'm not coming from any other number to this one. Okay, now let's just go to this 2, and things will start making more sense. So if I'm at this 2, what's the last number before which divides this 2. So I can see that this 1 actually divides 2, right? So I can come from this 1 to this 2 and I can have a pair of this 1 and 2 in my subset where both the numbers divide each other. I mean 1 divides 2. So we have this condition valid that one number should divide the other one. Okay. So the count that I will be having is, since I am having a count of 1 here, so the count here will be 2. Okay. And the index from where I am coming is 0. Why? Because if I am at this 2, the index from where I am coming is this index, right? So the index that I will be having here is 0. Okay. So let's just try to run for the other number, which is this 2. Okay. So if I am at this 2, what are the possibilities that I have? Okay. So can I come at this 2 from this 2? So if we see, is this 2 divides this 2? Yes, definitely. 2 mod 2 is 0. So this 2 divides this 2. But what's the count of the subset at this 2? The count is 2. So what's the count of the subset that's going to be for this 2? Since I already have 2 numbers till here, and if I'm adding this 2 again, so the total count of the subset that I'm going to have at this particular position is 2 plus 1, which is 3. Okay, so that's one possibility. I can also come from this 1 to this 2. So for adding this value 2, I can also come from this number 1, since 1 divides 2. Okay, but what's the count that I have here? 1. So if I just come from this 1 to this 2 directly, so the count that I'll be having is 2. But since I'm interested in the maximum count, so what I'll be doing is I'll be coming from this particular position. The count before is 2. So if I add 1, so if I add this value to that subset, the count is going to be 3. And then index from where I'm coming is this one, right? So I'll be just storing that index as well, which is 1. Okay. Let's consider this number 4. So again, you can see that for this 4, you can come from these 2. So if you try to come from this 1, for example, so definitely this 1 divides 4. The count is 1. So the count for 4 is going to be 2, because I'll be having just 1 and 4. But that's not the optimal. I can come from these 2. The count is 2. So 2 plus 1 is going to be 3. So for this 4, if I actually come from this particular value 2, so I'll be having a count of 2 plus 1, which is 3. But that's not again optimal, because if I come from this particular location, which is the count is 3, and this 2 divides 4 as well. So definitely I can come from this location to this location. So the count is 3 here, and if I add 1 more to the count, so that's going to be 4. So this is the place where I'm coming from. Okay, and the index for this is 2. So I'll be just storing the index 2 as well. Okay. Now if we have a look at this 5, can we come from this 4 to this 5? So is it possible that I can come from this 4 to this 5? No, right? Because this 4 does not divide 5. So that's not a possibility. So I just ignore that. Can I come from this 2 to this 5? No, because this 2 does not divide 5. So I'll just ignore that possibility as well. Can I come from this 2? No, that's not again possible. Can I come from this 1 to this 5? Yes, that's possible, because 1 definitely divides 5. The size of the subset at this 1 is 1. So the size of the subset that's going to be at this 5 is 2. So that's what I'll do. The size of the subset is 2. And the index from where I'm coming is 0. So I'll be just storing the past index, the previous index, which is 0. Now if you have a look at this 5, so definitely you can come from this 1 to this 5, and the count that you'll be having is 1 plus 1, which is 2. But if you try to come from this 5 to this 5, the count that you can obtain is 2 plus 1, which is 3. And that's the optimal count that we're interested in. Okay. Oops, my bad. Sorry. So the index was 0 here. Okay. So if you come from this 5 to this 5, since you already have a subset size of 2 here, at this you will be having a subset size of 3. And the index that you will be storing here is 4, because this entry is located at index number 4. So these are like the indices of the array. Okay, so the index that I will be storing is 4. Okay. Next, if we see, the number is 8. So I cannot come from this 5 to this 8, because this 5 does not divide 8. Similarly, I cannot come from this 5 to this 8. Where I can come from is this 4. So this 4 definitely divides the 8, and the count that I am having at this 4 is 4. So the 8 will be having a count of 4 plus 1, which is 5. If I try the other numbers, if I come from this 2, yes, this 2 divides this 8, but is the count optimal? No, because the count will be 3 plus 1, 4. But I can make a count of 5 if I come from here. Okay. So I'll be just having a count of 5 here, and the index from where I'm coming is this index 3. So I'll be storing that index 3 as well. Okay. Cool. For this 10, you can see that you cannot come from this 8, you can come from this 5. So this is where we'll be coming from. The index is 5 and the count will be 3 plus 1, which is 4. So I'll be storing that. The count is 4 and the index is 5. Okay. The last number 40 that we have, so definitely I can come to this 40 from this 10. So if I come from this 10, the count that I'll be having is 4 plus 1, which is 5, because 10 divides 40, right? So I can come from this 10, and the count will be 4 plus 1, 5. But if I, instead of this 10, if I come from this 8, so the count is going to be 5 plus 1, which is 6. Basically, I'm adding 40 to the set of 5. So the count is going to be 6, right? And that's more than the previous count that we had. Okay. So we'll be storing that count, which is 6, and the index from where I am coming is this 6. Right? So that's what the algorithm is. So in short, what you have to do is, for each of the number, you have to go back and see what all numbers divide this number. So for example, if you consider the example of this 8, so you have to go back to each of the numbers before, and you have to see which numbers actually divide this 8. Among all those numbers, you have to find the maximum count. Okay. So for example, if we consider this example of 8, we saw that this 4 is having the maximum count of 4. That means that at this 4, I am already able to make a subset of size 4. So how much is the size of the subset that I can make when I add one more number, which is 8? So that's 5, right? So I'll be going back, I'll be checking all the divisible numbers, and among all those divisible numbers, whichever is having the maximum count, I'll be storing that. The new count for this number is going to be the previous count plus 1, and whatever is the index of the number which is having the maximum count, so in this case it's 3, so I'll be storing that 3 as well. Okay, so that's the case of this 8. For example, if you consider the case of this 40, again I am going back to all the numbers which divides 40, so I am going back to 10, 8, 5, 5 and all the numbers, and among all these numbers, the number which is having the maximum count is this 8, okay, because this 8 is having the maximum count of 5. So if at 8 I am able to make a subset of size 5, so at this 40 I will be able to make a subset of size 6, because if I am adding one more number to the subset of size 5, the new subset size is 6. Okay, and since this 8 is located at index number 6, so that's what I will be storing here in the indices array. Okay. Now if you see, the final answer is going to be the corresponding to the one which is having the maximum count. So here you can see that we are having a maximum count of 6. But how do we obtain the numbers? So this is where the index values will help. So it says that I'll be having a subset of size 6, and that's the maximum among all these counts, definitely. And the subset is, so I start with here. So I add this 40 to my subset. Okay, so this 40 is done. This 40 takes me back to the index 6. So this is index 6. Okay, so this 8 is done. This takes me back to the index 3. So this is index 3. And this 4 is done. This takes me back to the index 2, and this is index 2. This 2 is done. This takes me back to index 1, which is here, and I add this value 2, which is done, and this takes me back to index 0, so that's the 1, and it takes me back to index minus 1, and we don't have index minus 1, right? So we just stop our algorithm here. So what all are the numbers that we have added to our final solution? So the numbers are this 1, 2, 2, 4, 8 and 40, and when we add all these numbers, so it's going to be like 1, 2, 2, 4, 8 and 40. You can pick any two number here, and definitely one number is going to divide the other number. Okay, for example, if we pick say 2, 40, definitely 2 divides 40. If we pick say 2, 8, definitely 2 divides 8. If we pick 1, 40, definitely 1 divides 40. So any two number if we pick, one number divides the other number for sure, and the size of this subset is 6, which is the most optimal size, which is the maximum size that we can obtain. Okay, so I hope this algorithm is clear to you. This particular question is very similar to one more question, which is like LIS question, which is a standard DP question. So the technique that we are using here is also a DP technique, dynamic programming technique. So next what we'll be seeing is how we can implement this in the code. So let's just jump to the code section. Okay, so what I've done here is I've written down the steps for you, so it's more easy for you to just follow the steps and write the code and implement it on your own in case you are new to the competitive programming world. I would really recommend you to pause the video now and follow these steps and try out on your own. So with that, we'll just start the implementation. So first step is to sort the numbers, right? Because remember, this is what we did as the first step. We had all these numbers, 2, 4, 1, 2 and so on. And the first step that we did was to sort all these numbers, because we have to process all these numbers in the sorted order, right? So that's what we'll be doing. So we'll just sort the numbers. Okay, and we just declared two arrays which is corresponding to the counts and the indices. So this array is going to store the count and the indices that we had in our implementation. So let's just declare two vector counts and indices, and the size of this is going to be n. Okay, because that's what is the size of our nums array is. So let me just store that in the variable n. Okay, so once I have that, what I'll be doing is I'll be looping through all the given numbers. So one by one in the sorted order, we'll be looping through all the numbers. Okay, so for example, consider this case where I am at say this location 5. So what I'll be doing is I'll be looping to all the numbers that I had before, and one by one, I'll be checking whichever number is having the maximum count. If in case if I'm at this index 0, so of course if I go back, I'll not be able to find any number from where I can come to this 2, right? So the value which will initialize our count is 0, and the index with which will initialize is -1, because that's going to help the way we'll implement the next part. Okay, so count is 0 and index is going to be -1. This is what the initial value of the count and index is. And what we do next is we iterate on all the numbers. So we just iterate from j equal to 0 to j less than I plus j. And for each of the number, the first thing that we check is whether nums of j actually divides nums of I or not, because that's the only case when we will consider this number. Okay, so if nums of I mod nums of j double equals 0, only in that particular case I am interested in checking that is this number the right number for me or not, whether I can actually come from this number or not. So for example, consider the case of this 8. Okay, so if I'm at this 8, of course I cannot come from this 5, or I cannot come from this 5 as well. I can only come from this 4, right? So that's the first thing that I need to check, whether this number actually divides that 8 or not, that number or not. Okay, and along with that, what I'll be doing is, so of course we need to have the maximum count, right? So again, I'll see that if count of j is actually greater than the count that I have already, counts of j, sorry, because the name of the array was counts. Okay, so if the count that I'm having, the counts of j, if that is greater than the existing count that I have, so then only I'll be updating the count. So count equals counts of j, and I'll be updating my index as well. So remember, this is the index is going to be j. Why? Because since nums of j is a number which divides the current number, which is nums of I, and the count that I already have for that number j is already greater than my existing count, because I want to have the maximum count, right? So I'll be just storing the count in my variable counts, and this index j is the index that I'll be storing in the variable idx. Okay, once this thing is done, so I'll be just updating the counts in the indices array for the location I. So counts of I is going to be count plus 1. Okay, so this is precisely, so the count that we had for 0 was 1, the count that we had for 2 was 2. Now if I consider this 2, I can come from this 2 to this 2, right? So the count that I'll be having is whatever is the maximum count before plus 1. So since the maximum count is 2, 2 plus 1 is going to be 3, right? So that's why we have counts of I equals count plus 1, and indices of I is going to be index, because in the index variable we are storing the index from where we are coming to the nums of I. Okay, so that's it, and this is the part where you are actually building the whole of this counts array and the index array. Once that is done, what we need to do is we have to find the number which is corresponding to the maximum count. Okay, so how we can do that? So in C++, what you can actually do is, so index equals max element of counts.begin counts.end minus counts.begin. Okay, so this actually gives you the index of the maximum element that is there in the counts array. Okay, so this actually gives me a pointer, and if I subtract counts.begin, so that will give me the index of the maximum element that I have in my counts array. Okay, and what do I do after that? So before actually doing anything, we need to initialize our variable answer. So let's just initialize our vector answer, and if in case n size is 0, so we'll just return the answer directly. Okay, now coming back here, so we have just found out the index for the maximum count that we have. Now we need to trace back, and we'll trace back till index is not equal to -1. Okay, because there is going to be one position, the last element, while we'll be tracing back where the index will be -1, and we'll be just tracing back one by one, and we'll be storing this all these numbers in our variable answer. Okay, so we'll just push back nums of index, and we'll just go back. So we go back using index equals indices of index. Okay, so that's what we do, and this will what this is going to do is So suppose the index that we have here is corresponding to the maximum count that we have here, right? So that's, suppose the index that we had here is, so for this we had the index 6, right? So from this 6, what we'll be doing is we'll be going back. Let me just erase these arrows. Yeah. So the index that we had here, the count was 6 and the index was 6 as well. So I take this particular element which is located at the index 8, and what I do is I add this 40 to my answer. So this 40 is done. Now I realize that I need to go to index 6. So from this index 8, I go to this index 6, and then I add this 8. So 8 is there in my answer. At this 8, I had the index 3. So from this 6, I go to index 3. I obtain this 4. I add 4 to my answer, and so on. So from this 4, I'll go to this 2, then this 2, and this 1. And at this 1, the index that I'll be having is -1. Okay. So when I check this index is going to be -1. And I cannot go anywhere before that, and this is the place where I stop my algorithm. Okay, so that's what I have done exactly. So while index is not equal to -1, I'll just add the number corresponding to nums of index, and the index that I need to go to that I need to trace back is found in the indices array, because we have stored all our indices, the back indices, in the indices array, right? So that's what I'll be doing, and I'll be just returning the answer. So let's just try to run this code. Okay, so the answer that we obtain is 2 1 1 2. So it doesn't matter in whichever order we can give the answer. Okay, so let's just try to add our example, which is 1 2 2 4 5 5 8 10 40. So 1 2 2 4 5 5 8 10 and 40. Okay, so the set that we should obtain is 1 2 2 4 8 and 40, which is of size 6. So as you can see, we have exactly the same set, 40 8 4 2 2 1, which is of size 6. And it doesn't matter, you can give the answer in any order. So let's just try to submit this code, and let's see if this works or not. Okay, this works, accepted. So this is a very standard technique in DP, and you might encounter very similar problems to this. So what I'll be doing is I'll be posting the links to the similar problems in the in the description section of these videos, so you can try out those problems as well. If you have any suggestion, if you want me to make separate tutorials on any other concept in competitive coding, do let me know in the comment section. I hope this video has been useful for you. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.